Hello to all you cryptid-loving fans. I am the Cryptic Narwhal and welcome back to my channel. So today, we are finally getting to a recap of Season 2, Episode 1 of Monster Mondays. These guys are absolutely awesome and I want to thank them for allowing me to do this video. And I would like to mention that if you notice the date of it and then the date of the video actually being released, you'll notice it's been quite a while, and that's just because I've been very thorough when writing my script for this video, and it just took me a lot longer than I thought it would. However, I'm getting back into the groove of things for November, and we're finally getting to it now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this Things You May Have Missed, Season 2, Episode 1 of Monster Mondays. So, here we are with the first of hopefully many Monster Monday recaps. We start off here with Season 2, Episode 1, also known as The Black Witch of Morristown, Tennessee. Starting off in the actual episode, we get to see a preview of things to come, a few scary moments that happen later on in the episode. And as we get into the intro for Monster Mondays, we get to see all of the members of Season 2. Big Brass, Cody, Dozer, Chris, Jarrett, who I will admit I've missed in the past. I remember hearing him talk about that in a live stream they did. And then, of course, Willie and Jeffro from Mountain Monsters, who are now team advisors for the show. Now, getting into the actual show, we start out with Jeff and Willie with their first ever on-camera appearance in the show. Jeff previously keeping up with the guys through phone calls. They're seen talking to each other about the Monster Monday guys. Jeff reveals that the guys are coming down to where they are to investigate the paranormal, the first time of the show's history pretty much. And they're there to give them hints, equipment they may need, and just be there as team advisors to advise the team on what to do. As Jeff and Willie joke amongst themselves, the Monster Monday guys finally pull up to the meeting spot in the mom van. They all greet each other and enjoy the moment together as they finally get to meet face to face. However, not too much longer after, they get into the hunt and the details and the specifics of what they're going up against. Chris lets Jeff, Willie, and the audience know what they're going after for this hunt. Chris tells that there's this house belonging to the Johnson and Harper families. The family had small feuds regarding the land, but made a truce. The sister of the Harper family allegedly was a witch and made a contract up. One of the members of the Harper family later make a claim that they saw the sister burn the contract after they sealed it in blood. And what the member of the Harper family didn't know at the time was that this contract actually led to a curse, and further on down the line of the story ended to a point where they all slowly died off and eventually led to the execution of the witch on that very same property. Chris then reveals the most recent news against this Black Witch, with that being around the 60s and early 70s, there was a family that actually moved into that house. However, they were chased off by the witch. Jeff reveals that there are white witches, yellow witches, however the Black Witch is the worst one imaginable. So, they start talking about what they need for the hunt. Willie lets them know that they need to protect themselves and keep their mind right, as the paranormal could enter your mind, having you turn on each other. There are a few things they need to keep with them at all times for this hunt. Salt being the first thing, to create salt circles to protect themselves from the ghosts. Flour or any powder that could outline the ghost and let you see things that cross it. Or if you put it on the ground, you could see footprints that your eye just cannot see. Obviously, they need to pick up some holy water at a church. The power of the water can help greatly against the power of the spirits with just the tiniest drop necessary. And holding a blessed cross anywhere on your body is absolutely necessary to keep them safe. It has to be blessed. If it isn't, there's a chance it could burn your chest if/when the ghost attacks. Another piece of gear that almost every ghost hunter has is an EMF meter. It reads electromagnetic waves, I think, or electromagnetic fields that can just detect when a ghost is nearby it. And, of course, a sage or smudge stick helps you clear the space when burnt, like ridding it of evil. And Jeff gives the Shadow Trackers an idea that in case they're ever in trouble, that they should head to a graveyard, as it is hollowed ground, keeping it safe from otherworldly spirits. And that is pretty much everything they talk about to prepare for the hunt. After this, right before parting ways, they all appreciate each other being there, they all shake hands and depart. Hopefully someday we see Jeff and Willie once again in another Monster Mondays video. And here we are with the guys having a team meeting in the truck as they drive to the location of Morristown, Tennessee. Chris once again gives us the backstory of the two families and their feud that eventually ends with them all being cursed by the Black Witch. However, we learn more details about the 15 people dying on the property, making it a very interesting haunted location if all 15 people are still there to this day. As we know, some people tried to move in, however were run off by this witch, making this property a prime location for the guys to investigate. And as we pull into the location, we see the lads on their side-by-sides going up this dirt road that we saw in the teasers they sent me. However, we get to see the house during the day so the guys can have a look around. Before checking out the house, they decide to check out a little barn outside of the house, as it could be a location where the families brewed moonshine all those years ago. Cody, still relatively fresh from his injury, decides to stick back and watch instead of walking around potentially hurting himself more. After the guys don't find much in the barn other than a really old hat, they decide to check out the house before nightfall. However, Cody suddenly stops everyone, stating that he heard something, asking if the guys if they heard it too. They say that it sounded like two people talking, almost as if it was the ghosts of the patriarchs of each family discussing something. So they decide to head towards the house slowly but quickly, making sure there's nothing in there, while Cody once again stands guard outside, making sure it's secure and nothing runs out. The guys get geared up and prepare for whatever could be inside of the house. They enter the house and start clearing rooms, checking it for any activity. That's when we suddenly hear Cody outside shout, "Boys!" and they all rush out to see what happened and make sure he's okay. However, as they're leaving, they are hooting and hollering that something ran out the front door and went up the hill near the house. Whatever it was fast and fully escaped the area. Could be a squatter, could have been a monster, we just do not know. The guys, after seeing this creature run out of the house, decide to meet right back up by the side-by-sides to hear Cody's side of the story of what he saw. He mentions he heard some beating noise and looked over there to where he heard the noise and saw that it was running off. So they all get in their rides and head that way to see if they could figure out whatever that noise was. They get to a field, drop off Cody, and then haul ass up a trail chasing whatever creature came out of the house. They reach a point in the path where it meets a river in the trail, and they just decide to head back, assuming that it went across the river and got out of there, meaning that they really don't want to go across the river to continue pursuing whatever this creature was. So after this, they decide to head right back to the house to begin preparing for the night hunt and show the audience the gear they have prepared. The gear they have features a fan that can turn green or red depending on the answer the ghost wants to give it. For example, "Are you real?" It would turn green for yes and red for no. They also have an EMF reader, like Jeff and Willie mentioned. Like I said earlier, it measures electromagnetic frequencies around them, detecting if a ghost is nearby or not. Another piece of device they have is an EVP, and I'm not quite sure what that one does. I think later in the episode they speak into it and get a response back. However, they decided to try speaking with the ghost with the fan before checking the house further. First of the questions they ask it is if there's anything in the house to contact them. They wait, but nothing happens. Cody asks again, "Is there a ghost in this house?" Once again, nothing. And then he asks it one final time to let them know if it exists. Then we get a confirmation of the paranormal in their location, and the light turns green. The next question they ask is if they're in any danger being in the house. The light turns off, turns green again, meaning they are definitely in danger. Right as they do this, we hear a growl sound come from right outside the door on the porch. Cody asks if it was the ghost, and the light turns red. We don't know what this creature is, but the ghost confirms that it's not the ghost. They run outside, and the glass to the door gets kicked out as they leave. Cody, assuming that the ghost is the reason all this is happening, asks if it's mad that they're there. However, it says no. He then asks if it's okay with them being there, and then the light goes green. If they're in danger, then it's not the ghost they're talking to. We will have to wait and see what's after them. Cody confirms to the team that the ghost they're talking to isn't the reason they're in danger. He asks it if it kicked the glass. The ghost says no. He asks if another spirit did it. Then the light goes green. There's officially 2 ghosts at this location. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, almost as if the ghosts of the 2 families are still there fighting all these years later. The guys decide that they need to collect their thoughts and cool down. They decide to investigate the house now that they've made contact with the ghosts, maybe even try a new piece of equipment. Cody asks if that's okay to go into the house, and the ghost says yes. However, he asks just a few more questions. During these questions, we learn that there are more than 15 souls in that house, with the master bedroom being the most active and dangerous. They learn that not even the outside is safe. Cody asks one more question. Are there hairy bipedal creatures, also known as Sasquatch, out in the woods? And the ghost confirms his suspicion and the light goes green. And then, a final question, are there any of them in the area around the house? And it answers no. However, they do come around. So, whatever they saw earlier most likely was not a Bigfoot. They have a debrief before splitting off into 2 groups. Half of them will stay in there talking to the ghost, while the other half goes outside and secures the house, making sure nothing gets out or whatever they saw earlier gets in, and that they're protected. Chris will take the master bedroom, the most haunted room, and Cody will stay at the table with all the gear since he's a little disabled at the moment. And after the split, we start off with Chris asking the ghost some questions. He asks for the ghost to step into the hallway as he holds a dots projector down the hall. If you're unsure what this device does, when you turn it on, it projects these green lasers as we see in the video, and it does this. That's right, it shows shadows of ghosts crossing past it, giving us a visual confirmation of spirits in that house. Not even a second after getting a visual of this ghost, something crashes inside the house, almost like glass breaking. They start to panic, getting the lights back on. They want to pursue the figure they saw, but neither of them have anything to protect themselves since Brass and Cody had the weapons with them outside. Chris, deciding to brave the dark, carefully walks down this hallway into the door of the room the figure ran into. However, the door was locked. And right behind them, we hear another crash of glass, and right after, get into the locked room. They look around a bit, but quickly realize there is not a single person in sight. And not much longer after, we hear a hiss coming from right behind them, running the team out of the room. The team in the house call out to Brass and Dozer to get in the house, and they claim to see nothing. However, while Cody is sat down, lets everyone know that the EMF reader is going off like crazy, detecting some strong electromagnetic fields around them. Brass decides to go back out and continue helping with the sweep. However, not long after, while Cody was sat on the chair, claims to have gotten smacked with some very visible scratch marks on his back. And now we cut to Dozer, Jarrett, and Brass doing the outside sweep. As they walk, Jarrett mentions seeing something up the hill, so the guys go investigate. He had no clue what he saw, but it was very fast. With Cody and Chris back in the house, they have all the lights off with a small light stating that they're going to try talking with the EVP device. He sets it down and tries getting a response out of the ghosts. They ask for it to speak and let them know if the ghost is the witch that hexed the property. However, we hear nothing, but it seems like Cody might have gotten an answer. He turns it off. However, right behind the cameraman stands a figure. Chris runs out of the bedroom and Cody lets him know that he saw something walk through the door in the woods. So Chris checks it out, and as he looks out, the door next to him slowly starts to open and move by itself without the help of the team outside, leaves Cody and Chris alone to deal with this. The camera once again cuts to the outside half, hearing Cody scream in the house, so they haul ass back to the house, and Brass enters to see if Cody's okay from his yelling. However, we once again hear a loud crash come from inside the house, so Brass and the camera take off to see what happens. As we enter the room, we see Dozer freaking out, throwing salt around him. They come back to the main room to gather their thoughts and calm down and regroup to see what they can do. Dozer and Brass decide to go check on Chris, who was in the opposite room asking the ghosts questions with the red-green lights. He asks if they were the ones breaking glass, and the ghost responded with green, meaning yes. They ask if the ghost wants to harm them, the light turns off. The light turns green, meaning yes. They ask if the ghost is Adeline, so it turns off and comes back with green. We finally find out who this violent ghost is. It is the Black Witch herself. As they collect their thoughts on what just happened, the door falls just centimeters behind Chris, and glass once again breaking into Dozer's hand. Cody, being the voice of reason, after all of this, decides to end the hunt. They are in danger of their lives and could end with someone getting killed, especially since now Dozer is hurt. They all carefully leave the building, making sure Dozer's okay and to get help from a hospital. As we reach the end, Dozer explains what happens with him next to the window, and Brass ends the episode giving a rundown of everything happening at the end, thus ending Season 2, Episode 1 of Monster Mondays. Wow, what a ending to the first episode, and a very exciting just action that we got there. Whew, this has taken me quite a long time to work on, and I have talked for so long. I had to completely re-record this entire video. However, it is done now, and I am so sorry if my energy by the end of it is just a little down from the start. This definitely was a great episode, and it's just awesome to watch. We have a few things, though, to talk about before we end off. I have a theory that the silhouette they saw with the Dot's projector was actually the Black Witch herself, due to the shadow being black, which we do get confirmation from the fan green light thing that it was Miss Adeline, the Black Witch. And originally, during the day, they saw that thing run out of the house. Now, it could be a squatter, but I think it could have been some kind of cryptid. I haven't put too much thought into what it could have been, because it ran fast. I've never seen a human run out that fast. So I think it's some kind of cryptid. I'm not sure what cryptid's in the area, but that is just my first idea. Another little bit of quick information that we have to talk about is Cody's departure from the show. Since this announcement that he was going to leave the show, things have actually been resolved where they cut out a deal to keep Cody in the show, which is just awesome to see. If you missed it, they announced that Cody was going to quit the show pretty much and move on to his own thing. However, just a day after, they announced that they had struck a deal, and I'll put a screenshot of that up here now. And we have to talk about Season 2, Episode 2. I did that video talking about it right before this video. However, we now have a release date for this video. It is coming November 17th, this Monday, which is coming up like just a few days from now, actually. So get ready for that, and once again, hopefully to do a recap of that video too. That shouldn't take that much longer. I'm like weeks out from the actual episode at this point. This is just, yeah, I don't know. This is unfortunate, but we're here now, and I'm getting back into the groove of things. So yeah, that's pretty much all to talk about. This video has already been long enough, so I'm not going to dilly-dally. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment below letting me know like what you want to see more from me if you enjoyed the video, and if you just want to see me talk about Monster Mondays more. And with that, I will let you all get finished with the rest of your Fridays. Look out for a new Sons of Appalachia episode today, and I thank you all for once again coming back. Goodbye.